Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Foxy Tarot Lab for our third installment of the Tarot webinar video series. I'm going to give my friends here and the people who signed up a few more minutes to join this cast while I'm organizing things here, and hopefully we'll have a few people joining us. I also would love to know that I have sound, so we'll see. Hopefully by your responses or some thumbs up or something, I will know that there is sound and you can actually hear me. And let me see if I can lower this a little bit and be happy with how the situation looks. Let's see. Hi, hello. We have somebody is watching. Somebody is watching. Yay. That's awesome. Let me see if I can go up a little bit. I think my Maria is there. Hi, baby. Hello, everyone. Can you guys let me know that you are able to hear it? Greece is in the house. I love it. Hi. My God. I can't believe, Maria, that I need to do a fucking webinar in order for us to connect in real time. Yes, so do you guys hear me? Can I get a thumbs up to see if I am being heard? Hello? Yes, you can hear me. Perfect. Because I have a little bit of a new setup, and of course, it all sort of came together at the last minute. So, want to make sure it's working. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys are doing good. I'm really grateful you're joining me. Amid early morning or late night, depending where you are, the hurricanes and everything else. Hey, Doris. Awesome. Loud and clear. I appreciate it. That's great. That is great. So let's take a few more minutes. We'll wait until 12:10 here for everyone to join, and then we're going to start. Meanwhile, you can tell me how you're doing, and you can share this with everybody. Please do. And also, I was trying to promote... You are working, Maria. I'm sorry. You're the best. If you can share the link to this cast with all of your friends and dear ones and tell them they should come, that'd be awesome. Like it, obviously give me some hearts, and I hope that you saw the downloadable materials that I put up because they're kind of dope. I think it turned out really, really awesome, and it's going to be very helpful as a resources for you guys later down the line. Yay! And also, guys, before I even go into this workshop, I appreciate you joining me, and I want to say lots of thanks to Monica Caravita, who is my wonderful apprentice slash manager of my head, because she was the one that did all the technical aspects of putting the information up online for people, setting all kinds of things up, sending out the newsletter, and I am infinitely grateful to her, and also to my man, Mr. Fit, aka Nadia, for taking care of me and bringing me coffee and setting up the room and putting incense and making sure I'm not losing my mind. So many thanks to those two that keep me going here. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure that I'm downloading the latest version of the materials. That I think is going to be a good idea. Let me see if I actually am able to see the cast myself. I think that would be helpful. Hey, Eva is joining me there. Thank you so much. Let's see if I am able to share this. Share to a page. It's so weird to watch myself. It's kind of bizarre as I'm going through this. Let's see. And again, we'll let people know about this. We're going to give them a few more minutes to join us. And hopefully we're going to have a fuller house here in a minute. Here we go. And I'm trying to share it myself. I appreciate if you guys sharing it too, so people know, because this is, I think, the last workshop in a long time that I am intending to do for free. So hopefully you guys get the chance to watch it, and you got the chance to get the downloadable materials. Were you guys able to download it? Please let me know. I want to see some thumbs up. Give me some way to know that you were able to access the materials. See, I'm trying to share this really quickly as much as I can. Okay. Good. Okay. So were you guys able to download the materials? Were you guys able to download the PDF and it's in front of you? Hey, Eliza, thank you for joining me. I am about to start. Here we go. Okay, 10 people. Jessica, you got it. Awesome. Good. Have it in front of you. I believe it's going to be a great resource for later down the line. But let's start. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Madam Nadia from madamnadia.com and from the glossfox.club. I've been doing divination and tarot reading specifically for many, many years. I was kind of born into that. I'm a hereditary reader. My mother reads cards as well. And I studied it on my own for over 20 years now. And I think been working professionally for over 15 years as a tarot reader. I'm also doing a bunch of other stuff. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a producer and co-host of the Fit and Foxy podcast. And I'm a sorceress, and I do magic for a living. Awesome. People saying that they got the handout. They got the bonus materials. Great. Perfect. So as a woman who does sorcery for hire, as a woman who does conjure and hoodoo for many years as well, I'm also an initiated Palera, and I am an initiated Macumbera, or I do Kimbanda. All of my practices include magic, and all of my practices are based on work with the ancestors and heavy work with divination and relying on divination in order, sorry, let me go up like this, in order to understand what is going on. So a lot of times my clients come to me, and of course there's the basic layer of divination that we deal with, where they want to know what happened, or more importantly, what's going to happen, right? So let's say somebody's coming to me and they haven't been working for a while, and they want to understand what's going on and why they cannot get a job. And a lot of times we see that it's not only a matter of time. Sometimes there are some spiritual issues that are the problem in a given situation. For instance, the most basic one, somebody gave my client the evil eye, right? Person that they worked with before hot-footed them. Or they just been in a very strong spiritual funk. There was a lot of stuff going on. So there are multiple different factors. And in order to figure out what is really going on, all you need is your deck of cards. And of course, you guys, if you've been following these workshops, I think the last one that I did was about 7 months ago. We had already 2 installments, and we work with the Rider-Waite deck in these workshops. So the first workshop was sort of introduction to the tarot, and covered the major things like the suits and the majors and things of that nature. The second workshop kind of went, took it a notch up, and we were talking about color and direction, and how to interact and how to read the story. So in my opinion, this installment, the third installment, when we're talking about magic and the cards, is, thank you, Ruan says, the workshops were great, and I'm sorry you are unable to download. I hope you can download a PDF Hey, Butch. Butch is here too. Thank you for joining me. So, in my opinion, this this workshop today is the most interesting because now we're talking about magic, and we're not only looking at our cards to predict what is going to happen to us in our life or to our client, but we're also going to predict what should we do spiritually in order to get the results that we want. Okay, so this is why I think this is like the dopest workshop of them all. And I taught this workshop several years ago at the Hoodoo Heritage Festival. It was a great success. I got a lot of great feedback on it. And in that workshop, I used the full deck of the tarot, and as well as gave examples. I'll show you some stuff. How to work with Lenormand, and the same idea on how to work with playing cards. If you guys are just joining me, please do me a big favor, like, share, and let everybody know that we're doing that. And if you haven't yet, please try to download the free workshop bonus material so you can refer to it as I go through it. So today I am going to be working with the Rider-Waite deck again. This is just a fancy version of the same deck. And on the other hand, we will be only referring to the trumps because of that limit in time. It's a free workshop. We gotta set our boundaries and limits somewhere. If you want to learn more about how to do work with your full deck, if you want to learn methods about how to read even, or how to do magic with Lenormand and playing cards, hit me up. Let me know, madamnadia.com, theglossfox.club, and I do tutoring, I teach, I read, and I do magic. So yeah, absolutely, let's do this, okay? So let's start, and if you guys want to look into your materials, I kind of gave you an outline of what kind of uses we have for tarot, and this is, we always can come up with more, hey Valentina, with more ideas and more things that we can do with our decks. But first and foremost, we use cards for divination, right? We use it for prediction. I believe in predictive readings. I don't want to tell people about their inner child unless they're asking me, because I don't have a degree in psychology. My degree is in communication and cinema, and I also do magic and cards. So I don't talk about psychological stuff unless I'm being asked to. I talk about predictive things. I predict the future. I tell them what happened in the future, and if needed be, we can look into the past and see what happened in the past. The tarot can be used for inspiration if you're an artist, and I'm an artist. I used my deck multiple times to come up with ideas and even to construct movies, and how my movie, the order of the scenes or how I should cut it, gonna go by pulling cards. So that's another use. Absolutely meditation. Meditation can be, the tarot can be a very great aid for meditation, to become a focal point to something. The tarot, especially the trumps, are loaded with amazing, powerful occult meanings that you can utilize for your meditation. Let's say you want to manifest a trip, you want to travel abroad, or you want to seduce a Cancer, right? Because the chariot is connected to that sign. Or you want to do something during the period of July, let's say. You can use this card as that focal point. So you're not just sitting and thinking, oh my goodness, I really wish I could travel in July and go somewhere nice like, you know, Sicily. You can use that card, and you can put the card itself, or you can use a copy of it. Hey Lindsay, thank you for joining me, as your focal point for meditation. Personal development as well. Let's say that you are trying to, let's see, you are trying to become more assertive, maybe more seductive. You want to bring out that strength within yourself, right? So you can start working with strength card. It's La Force here. Sorry. I have English. I have French, I think, on the bottom of my cards on this deck. But you can work with that. So understanding the meanings of the occult meanings and the meanings of your cards in general is very important for this work. Again, if you want to know more about it, you need help learning, hit me up, madamnadia.com, or private message me, and we will I promise you that you're going to be reading like a motherfucker, because all of my students are amazing, amazing, amazing readers. Hi, Donna. Thank you for joining me. Again, guys, whoever just joined, please make sure to like, make sure to share, and download the bonus materials because they are free now. Finally, we use the cards for magical remediation. And I know that a couple of folks that helped me out with proofreading my presentation that are not working in the same field as me were like, what the fuck is magical remediation? I've never heard it. Is it even English? So magical remediation, it's actually a term that we use in hoodoo a lot. It's meaning we're going to use magic, we're going to use spirit, we're going to use conjure in order to change the situation in our favor, in order to heal a certain situation perhaps. And I'm not using heal in medical way, but in spiritual way, in holistic way, or we're going to change the outcome as it's from what we see that is going to happen. Let's say we predict, we put the cards down, and somebody said, you know, and you see that your client is not getting what they want, or their future is going not to be so good. Now we can start figuring out, based on our cards, what is it that we need to do in order to change that situation. Magic is, and this is my opinion, I'm coming from my own background, this is not the threefold rule or whatever it's called, right? I believe that any kind of magic is an act of manipulation. And I don't mean manipulation in a sense of we're going to trick somebody. Yes, we're going to trick people by default. That's part of magic. But this is not what I mean. It means that we have the ability to do magic to change our reality in ways that we want. So no matter what you practice, if you practice Wicca or you practice the law of attraction, the minute you start saying an affirmation like I am enough, and your world start changing in positive ways, and you feel better and more confident with yourself, you just created a certain manipulation. You manipulated the reality in your favor. So this is how I look at that, and I believe truly that the universe, the great mother, whatever we want to call it, her, that we believe in, gave us these tools to be able to do that. And of course, it's our personal work in the world if we want to be positive or negative, and want to do good, if we want to be good people or not. This is between us and our spirits and our ancestors and so forth. Okay, so what kind of magical remediation I'm talking about? And I'm on the third page here of the presentation. If you're following me, if you were able to download, and again, I put a link in the I put a link here, and I'm gonna share, let me maybe drop the link again in the comments here, so if you guys want to see where you can download the materials for free, please do that, because it's going to be helpful if you just follow that. If not, it's not too bad either. Hey Vicky, thank you for joining me. It's not terrible if you don't have it, but it's really helpful if you can watch it or refer to it. If you want to download it later, you can do that as well. So, slide number 3, magical remediation types. Devotional, okay? So we can, as we said, we can use the cards as focal points. We can use the archetypes. A lot of people talk about the archetypes, right? In the cards. So let's say, obviously the devil, you know, is quite an archetype in itself. Let me see. The emperor can be representing of a father, right? the Divine Mother, the Empress, pregnancy, fecundity, and so forth, the anima, the knowledge, the hidden knowledge, things of that nature. So if you study the tarot, and we're not going to go into that right now, you learn about the archetypes, and you learn about the magical, sorry, let me shift a little bit. You learn about the magical attributes of the cards, and we were talking about the trumps are probably the easiest one, the most loaded ones to work with. But you can use the archetypes in a way to meditate on them, as I mentioned earlier, and you can just simply use it on your altar. You can work with it. If you want to work with Mother Nature, right? If you want to work with the celestial bodies, if you want to connect to those energies, if you want to work with, the cycles of the moon or the menstrual cycles, you can use this to help yourself. If you're working with your own addictions and your own obsessions, you absolutely can use this card and make friends with the devil and understand what's going on in your life and how you can create the change that you can create. If you're stuck in a certain situation, right? If you're stuck in a situation and you don't know how to get out of it, you can use the Hangman to help you. Now, I'm going to make a recommendation. If you're going to use your actual cards in ritual, which I do, get yourself an extra deck, because you're going to mess up those cards. You're going to fuck up those cards, and it's going to be fucking them up in lovely, lovely ways, but they're just not going to shuffle the same way after that. And I just, I'm really grateful to Jay. He got me another pack of the Pagan Underworld Tarot. I think this is what they call it, because I use mine in ritual, and totally, you spray liquor or smoke it with cigars one time, or put it by candle wax, and bam, you can, it's just not going to shuffle the same way. So my advice to you, make sure that you have an extra deck on hand, or you can always use prints, copies, of the cards to work with. Now, you can use the tarot in prescriptive ways. This is how we look at the situation, we look at the spread, we look at the information that we're getting, and we decide on an action or on a strategy. How are we going to change the reality based on the information in the cards? And this is the beautiful things, you guys, that the information is there. You do not need 400 different tools in order to figure out what the fuck is going on. Absolutely not. You can pull a few cards, and in fact, I recommend 3 cards, only 3 cards. And not only that you will be able to look into the past and to the future, but you will be able to devise a way to deal with it spiritually, okay? So this is the beauties of these puppies, right? That you don't need more than that, and you don't need a great amount of information. In fact, too much information, too many cards can make you confused. So stick with the basics. It's right there. I promise you, your trusty cards have already all the answers that you need. Now, you can also use it in introspective ways, meaning if somebody comes to you, let me take a sip of my tea here. If somebody comes to you, of course, as we said, you can decide what needs to happen in the future, right? What magical work needs to be done. But a lot of times you need to figure out what has been done in the past. If, for instance, a woman comes to you and she says, I've been in an abusive relationship, I've been in a shitty relationship, and I don't know why, even though we are separated and I did my own healing work and whatnot, I just can't get a relationship. Every time I meet somebody, maybe it's a couple of dates, but they just disappear, or it doesn't take, or something feels wrong and I don't know what it is because I'm doing everything that I can. Maybe you can look into the cards into the past and figure out what has been done. Maybe that person that she's dated tied her, And so now, if you're not going to do work that's going to untie that situation, doesn't matter how much love work you're going to try to do for this woman to bring her somebody, you'll be able to bring somebody, but that somebody is not going to stick. So this is why we need to be able to do introspective work. And people who do mediumship, people who work with ancestors, do very deep introspective work, because we can go and we can look into past lives, we can look into the into soul agreements way back and see where the problem is, so we can focus on that problem and shift the situation in positive ways, and not just prescribe a spiritual band-aid over and over and over again that's not going to do anything. Okay, are you guys with me so far? I want to see some thumbs up, I want to see some love, I want to hear what's going on with you. And if anyone has questions or comments, let's do a little switch before we go deeper. Okay, so you guys are digging it, you understand what I'm talking about. Cruz says yes, awesome. Okay, anyone has questions, anyone wants to say something besides how gorgeous I look today? I'm just kidding, you guys, but yeah, anyone? Okay, hey Lena, I see a heart from here. Vicky, excellent. Okay, you guys are digging it. Yay, 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 yay. Lindsay says she needs it. Baby, whatever you need, you know I love you. You know I love you. Cool. I see hearts. And share that motherfucker with the world. They all need to know that Madam Nadia is live and she's doing her thing, okay? Thank you. Now, the next slide, number 4. Read the tale, craft the right. What I did here is I gave you something very personal. I gave you a 3-card spread, and I know it looks simple, only 3 cards. What I gave you is something that I use and a way that I approach a situation. And it doesn't matter who you read with or whatnot. I can tell you that some of the most bomb readers I've ever met do the 3-card cut, and they can tell you everything about you. And one of them, my esteemed teacher, Miss Cat Ironwood. Miss Cat reads like nobody's fucking business, and she'll put 3 cards down and she'll tell you everything you want, you don't want, you need, and you are afraid that other people are going to know about you, just from those three cards. So this is what I want you to understand. You don't need a bunch of cards, especially when you start developing the system. The more information you get, the more confusing it gets. Everything is here, and if it's 3 cards, it's 3 cards, baby. You don't need any more than that. Do not mess around with more cards, okay? You don't need your client. Your client is not going to be impressed if you're going to put all the fucking cards on the table. What they're going to be impressed with if you're going to fix their shit, okay? So I'm just being very real with you guys, okay? So this is my approach when I investigate the situation. Thank you. Maria says, I rock. 3 cards is my go-to. 3 cards cut, always. So, you know how you have those WH questions or whatnot, or if you study storytelling or journalism, they're telling you you need the what, the why, and the how. So my situation is the same. My first card that I put down is the known. This is what the client told me, or maybe the client didn't tell me, but this is on the surface. This is what is given. There are different types of clients, and especially if a client just starts working with you, they might feel uncomfortable. They might feel shy. They might be afraid that you're going to judge them. They might just not understand, you know, if something happens to you and you're very close to a situation, it makes a lot of sense to you, but to share it with somebody else, you might miss some important information. So this is why this card is very important. It will confirm what your client told you, but it might add you extra information or start sending you in the right direction. And for me, this is the what. This is the given. This is the known. This is where we start from. This is the point of beginning. Then, the next card is why. It's the hidden. When somebody comes to me and they say, somebody's throwing magic at me, somebody's rooting me, all these people, I always ask, why? Why would somebody take time from their day Invest in black candles and sulfur and God knows what else. Put your name on a candle. There has to be a reason. This is not from a judgmental place. Some people are jealous. Some people have their own reasons, whatever it is. But the second card, the hidden, is the why. We got to understand the root reason. Why is the situation happening? Because otherwise, we're going to be changing little things, but ultimately, the situation is not going to improve. So we must understand the hidden. And then, when we get the given, the hidden, now we come to the solution. Now we come to how can we improve the situation. When you have all these three things, like a good story, right? Beginning, middle, and end, past, present, and future. Triad, triangle is a very important shape, and we're actually going to mention some shapes here. Then you have a framework from where to start. So this is a multi-layered way to look into the information, because this will not only tell you what happened, it's not only going to tell you how your client is feeling and why they're upset or whatnot, or what's happening in the future. It will also tell you why it's happening and how you can change it. And this is a big deal. This is the key here, you guys. And I promise you, you don't need 20 cards on the table. You need only 3. And the more you work with the system, the more you will be able to detect data without having to go into a long time meditating on it, or a bunch of cards, or going through a bunch of information. Besides, as I say to my clients, I'm not being paid for my knowledge, I'm being paid for my time. Okay? So I don't want to spend extra time laying down a bunch of cards that's going to fuck me up later, because I'm going to spend all this time trying to figure out what the fuck it says, and I didn't do any work. I didn't do anything that the client actually paid me to do. So 3 cards is enough. Now, going to slide 5, you guys, okay? So some interpretation techniques. This is how we can look at any combination of cards and start figuring out how are we going to approach, how are we going to detect, how are we going to understand a situation, okay? So the first thing is what I called spells in spreads. This is why we're here. This is why we're talking about it, right? So any layout of cards that you pull out randomly, maybe for yourself or for your client, contains, as I said, all the data that you will need to figure out the working that you do. The spell is written already there in those 3 cards. Your spell is written out. And the more intimate you are with your cards, the more you know about your cards, the easier it will get to figure out what you need to use and what you do not need using. Let me see. I'm just gonna pull this out as an example, the moon. Okay, if I see the moon, it could be many different things, but just a quick example. It might tell me that the work needs to be done or tied to moon cycles, right? Maybe it's a banishing work, so I'm going to work with the waning moon. Maybe it's a new beginning, so I will look for a new moon or the few days after the new moon to start that work, okay? Maybe if it's a justice card, I will say that needs to be some sort of cutting. There needs to be some sort of cut and clear, just based on the sword here. So, in a nutshell, everything that you need is encoded in the cards. And in fact, if you're just starting with the tarot, you might even stick to the trumps. I know people that read and do everything with just the trumps, and they don't use the rest of the deck. It's absolutely fine. The more you read about it, the more you study about it. Again, we can study together if you want, one-on-one, madamnadia.com. Hit me up, and you will know so much about the cards, you'll be amazed. Okay, something that I really, really like to do, what I call writing out your fortune. If you look at the cards, you can think this is a book with loose leaves, loose pages. When you shuffle your cards, and you pull out cards, you get a random story. Okay? You get a random story. Nobody says that you cannot decide that you are going to create your own story magically. How are you going to do that? You're going to take several cards, I would recommend 3, and you're going to put them together. For instance, let's see. I'm really drawn to my, here. Let's say I know that something happened to me. Maybe some tragedy, something traumatic, whatever it is. Some shit came down and it happened to me. And this is where I'm at, and I'm dealing with something. Now I know that I need to start telling my system, my spirits, my guides, the higher self, that I want to start shifting. So I'm going to put this card, and this is going to be an intention, and I'm going to say, I want to resurrect myself. I want to rebuild myself. I want to become a new person. And as I'm rebuilding myself, I'm going to have the strength, the conviction, the inspiration, and the discipline to move forward. Okay? So I just created my future by putting these cards together, acknowledging the situation that happened to me, understanding what needs to happen, and understand where I'm going to go. This is what I just did, is 100% magical ritual that you can do with your cards. And you can put it down on your altar just like that, or you can do offerings to it. You can connect to the energies and the spirits in the cards. You can work in so many different ways, and this is a completely different, how you can work with just this technique. We can do a whole other workshop. Awesome. Cruz says he loves it because this is simple, and you already have it. You don't need to go buy I don't know what else to create your altar. This can be your altar. That's it. You don't need any more. Now let's say we're gonna take it a step farther. I'm happy Vicky likes it, and she says it's powerful. We're gonna take it a step farther. Okay, we're gonna say that let's say we have an addiction, or we have we have an addiction, we have an obsession, we are stuck on somebody, or we're stuck on something, and we're pulling cards for ourselves. So we see this and we say, okay, I know what it means. Then we see this. Great, I'm getting better, right? I'm working on it. Things are changing. But then we get this, right? So now we're going to have to step into our big magician boots, and we're going to say, I understand that this is where things are going if I'm not going to change anything. Thank you, Spirit Guides, for letting me know. But I'm going to be in control. I'm going to honor this, and I'm going to say, okay, so maybe I'm going to fall off the wagon, right, with my addiction, with my issue. But I'm going to take control into my life. And I am going to have, the control to replace this with what I want. And I'm going to replace it with this, because this is a card of triumph, and this is a card of movement, so I don't get stuck and my shit doesn't fall apart. This is absolutely in your right to do that. Bring in your intention, your free will, and your magical powers. So you're saying, I'm taking the control into my life, and I'm changing things by replacing in that string this card with this card. Perhaps you want to honor this spirit of the tower, You want to give it something. You're going to give it some water. You're going to give it maybe cigar smoke. You want to give it a candle, whatever the fuck that you want to do. But then you're going to replace it with this. And you're going to leave it out so you can refer to it all the time. And we all have our shit. We all have our issues. We all have our obsessions. We all have the stuff. We all have the ex, whatever it is. And our cards and our spirits tell us we have the power to change the situation how we want. Thank you. LaDonna Lee says, so dope. Awesome. Yay. I just changed your mind a little bit. I'm so proud. Awesome. Maria, you can work with the moon. You don't have to. It really depends. Or you can trust your cards to tell you when you need to work with the moon, right? Or when you need to work with astrology, because we have the celestial bodies in the cards. Or maybe a certain shape will remind you of that. So this is we're writing out our own fortune. Nobody says we cannot do that. This is absolutely, this attraction mind and trust in the universe that we can rewrite our story and we can be in control of how we're rewriting our story. And in fact, it's going to help us so much with self-confidence and the ability to trust that things are going to work out. Okay? So, here we go. Now, let's talk a little bit about literal and symbolic stuff in the cards. And by the way, anybody has questions, anybody wants to ask something or say something, this is a good time. I'm looking for 2 cards that I'm going to be referring to. Here. Hi Sylvia, and please give me some thumbs up. Please let me know if it's working for you guys. And share. Okay, let me see. Let's see, share. I'm gonna share it as well, just to make sure people know where to find us. Here we go. Hello. Thank you for joining me. For you guys who just joined, please do me a favor. Like and share. And if you can, download the materials. Do pentacles refer to anything? Sorry, you guys, it's going fast. Let me see. Do pentacles refer to anything else besides money? Absolutely. Pentacles refers to anything physical, anything tangible. It can be, for instance, working with the element of earth, right? It can be crafting talismans. It can be working with your physical body, right? The physical body. It can be anything that's related to winter, right? North, winter, this kind of stuff. So yes, do you recommend a particular type of deck? You know what? The best fucking magicians that I know work with the Rider-Waite. Rider-Waite is very accessible. It's easy to find. It's filled with magical codes in it. Of the Golden Dawn. Of course, if you are not, if you're not feeling the Golden Dawn, or if you really look at the deck and you're like, I really can't connect to it, find anything else, but you will have to do, no matter what deck it is, you will have to do the homework. You will have to spend time. You will have to make agreements with your cards, with the spirits of the cards. I think I said it in previous workshops too. You can have 2 Rider-Waite decks that are made by the same publishing house, could be even made in the same year. You could have bought them 2 at the same time, and you will be touching one and you'll be like, this reads so much better than the other one. So perhaps you're going to say, well, this one reads better. I am going to read with this, and the other one is going to be the one I'm using for rituals. So ultimately, you can pick any deck, anything that turns you on, right? It needs to turn you on. It needs to create that passion within you to interact with the cards. They need to talk back to you. Any relationship takes time, but you develop that. The cosmic tarot that's based on Rider-Waite, Vicky says, yes, absolutely. If this is your thing, it needs to work for you. It doesn't need to work for anybody else. Clients that come for readings, most of them don't even give a shit what cards you're using. They don't understand that. It's a mystical thing for them. It's a big thing for them. But they don't care. They need you to understand and to be able to decipher it. Is there a particular ritual to activate a deck of cards? There can be many, many different rituals, and that can be a whole other webinar. If you guys want to know, hit me up and let me know that we want to do it, and perhaps we can do another webinar for that. Or Ladonally, you're welcome to hit me up, and I tutor, I teach, and we can devise a specific ritual for you. And I'm going to give you a little hint. You can draw some cards and devise on your own ritual, right? If it's a virgin deck, you just started working with it. Do a little, people do interviews with it online, but I would just pull a few cards and ask them, what kind of ritual do I need to do with you? Do I need to offer you water? Do I need to offer you a candle? Do I need to put you under the pillow? Do I need to put you in the moonlight? All these different things. I don't believe in, I'm a triple Gemini. I don't believe in one way of doing things, and I don't believe in binary approach, either or. Different strokes for different cards, right? Okay, and from now on, guys, I will be more than happy to do webinars and create materials, but I am not going to do any more free workshops. So that's why I was like, get the materials for this one, hope on this one, because after that we are going to, mama gotta pay the rent, right? So I'm going into something that it's really important for me, for you guys to understand, and these are the two approaches of deciphering information. Okay, the literal and the symbolic. So let's say the literal, okay, means I'm going to take the cards, I'm going to look what's on the card, and I'm just going to follow that as is, right? This is my directions for work. Let's say I pull the cards, right? I do my spread, and in my solution, or the how, the third position, I get I get the Hermit card, okay? And my goal is to figure out what kind of work needs to be done for my client, okay? So I'm going to look into this, and I'm going to say, well, first and foremost, what do I know? What is very obvious about the Hermit card? And one of the most obvious things is that the Hermit has a lamp. So I can look at that, and if I go literal on my interpretation, I'm going to say, I think this client needs somebody or them to set light for them, or to make a lamp in order to make the changes that they need, or perhaps to illuminate the situation. I can go deeper into that. It's not really something that's written on the cards, even though some cards will have, some decks will have like the astrological interpretations on that. But Hermit is associated with Virgo, right? We are in Virgo season. So I might say the person that's going to bring light to your situation is a sign of Virgo, or the workings needs to be done in the time of Virgo, or perhaps if there's a time limit on your work, or how long you need to put the candles for, maybe you need to do it from now for a year until Virgo happens again, or just until the time period of Virgo ends, right? So when we go to do your lights, set your lights until we go into Libra time. Make sense? So I'm just using what's in the card. I'm not trying to get any more information. I'm going literal. Put some lights, do it in the next few weeks while we're in Virgo. You're going to see the change. You're going to see the difference. It's right in the card. Now I can go and I'm going to say, I'm going to be symbolic about it. I'm going to take into account what's written here, but I'm going to do a little detective work on this. So I'm going to look again, and I'm going to say, well, I see this lantern, and in the lantern there is a star, and immediately as I said, there's a star. What did you guys think about? Ta-da! Right? The star card. Okay? So I can look into it and I say, in order for it to happen, what I can do is that I'm going to pull the star card, or I'm going to pull the tools that are in the star card. For instance, I'm going to work with astrology on this. Very simple. I think that baiting, spiritual baiting, is going to be the most productive approach, or spiritual baiting needs to be added to setting lights in order to change, to make real change happen. Or I know that this is the sign of Aquarius. We're going to be working from a period of Virgo to the period of Aquarius, right? And you can do this work. This is much deeper than going literal, the symbolic part, only if you know your shit, right? If you don't know your cards, you're not going to be able to do that. It takes time to be able to look and be like, shit, there is the star card here. Let me pull the star. Let's have this conversation. What is going to be helpful? This is where it's at, you guys. And this takes time. But the cards will talk to you like that. And the symbolic interpretation is very, very deep and very it's lots of fun when you can do that, because it gives you another layer of interpretation, another layer of tools that otherwise you would probably not be able to do with just the symbolic. But you want to make your life simple, symbolic is just as okay. What I like to do is that when I go from one level of understanding and trying to achieve another level of understanding, I make an agreement with my tools, I make an agreement with my spirits, and I say, you know what, I want to go deeper, teach me, explain to me, let it connect. A lot of times you will be dreaming about that. That information will be downloaded through dreams. You also can look into the cards and see that there is stuff there, and use that imagery as symbols to what to add to your work. For instance, you see that you see this a little scorpion. It's not a scorpion. It's a type of shellfish. Actually, I forget the name. But if you do, who do you know that we use crabs, for instance, for reversing work because they're going backwards. So you might look into that and you might add an element, and you're going to say you need some reversing powder or crab powder in order to, crawfish, thank you, in order to do the work. Work with the moon, but you also need this. Obviously, water, rising sun, do your work at dawn. Wash your house, bathe, throw the water at dawn towards the rising sun. This is Archangel Michael. Work with the archangels. Add that element to your work. Let's see. Again, work with the moon. Work with the new moon, perhaps. Pomegranates, element of fertility right here. Of course, you can say, is it male deity or female deity if you want to incorporate into your work. Let's see. And I'm not even going into the suits because you get a lot of that stuff there too. Sunflowers. Maybe you need to put some sunflowers on your altar because it's going to uplift your energy. Working with yellow color, working with yellow candles, working with gold, stuff like that. Now, as I mentioned, sacred geometry is quite important. If you ever crafted altars, you know that the way we arrange things is important. And sometimes we're being guided, or sometimes we might decide on a certain arrangement. For instance, if I'm looking for stability, if I want to feel like I want to ground my energy, or I'm looking for a job, or I'm looking for a house, something like that, I perhaps will consider to make a square or rectangle for, right? I base myself. Now, if I want to create change and I want to create movement, I might decide on a triangle. right? Or work with a pyramid candle. But triangle is a very, very powerful form of working, and it creates movement. Okay? So let's say we were talking about creating change in our lives. Let me pull out the same cards that I had here before. And let's do something else. Let's see. I want to work. Okay. I want to make a difference in my life. I want to be successful. I want to be flexible. And I want to be assertive, right? I can take these three cards, and of course you can make a row and tell a story, or you can create a shape, right? Suddenly, by creating the shape, you created much more power and intensity. Of course, you can add stuff to it, like candles, for instance, and also create it in that kind of shape. And you can, even if you rearrange, what's on the top of the pyramid, is going to rearrange the flow of the energy in your work. So this is something to consider. Now, if I'm going to add this, I want to do that, and I want it to make me money, or start creating positive changes, the Wheel of Fortune. So now, it's a whole other story. It's a whole other energy. So you can consider that as you're devising your work, but you also can find shapes in your cards. Obviously, what is very clear here? We have a circle, okay? So working with circles, maybe you want to do a petition paper and write, in circle around it. That's perfectly fine. The symbol of infinity, maybe you want to do some love work and you want to take some love powder and put the infinity symbol around something that represents you and something that represents him or her. And this is information, you can seek this information in your cards, or you can create this, and just be very mindful when you're putting stuff together. Vicky is ready for some tarot magic tonight. Yay! Okay, you guys. So, any questions so far? And again, share, like, give me some hearts, because I'm getting tired and we're almost at the end of this fabulous time together. So tell me what you're thinking, what's on your mind, or if you want to ask something. Yay, I'm getting some hearts. Yes. Okay. Numerology. I highly recommend that you learn a little bit of numerology. You can do it on your own. There's a bunch of resources. You can go to a lot of places online and just read about it. Because numerology is a big part of the tarot, the suits, as well as the trumps, right? And it's going to give you another layer of information. Thank you, Vicky, for saying that I'm a great teacher. Lindsay loves it. I appreciate it. You can, you definitely understand more when you get that. You get the numerology. But you also, the most basic way is to figure out, let's say, I want to do something, but I need to understand how many times to do that. Right? How many cycles, how many candles, how many baths. You can go deeply into numerology and understand it, or you can go, this is number 5. So 5 baths for 5 months, right? 5 repetitions. Put 5 items in your bag. This is important. So, my storage is almost filled. I hope you guys are still seeing it. I don't know why my shit is talking to me right now. But this is very, very, very important, because a lot of times doing something once is not going to be enough. but a repetition setting like 5 lights, 5 candles, or in the formation of a star, right? 5, going back to the shapes and to geometry, is going to make a difference. So pay attention to your numbers. And astrology, you guys, super, 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 super big, because it can give you so much information. Numero uno. Ooh, I dated 3 different guys, and I think one of them cursed me. Who was it? You look into the cards and you're like, well, I see this, I see this, and I see this. Oops, I think he was a Taurus, because I can see that here, right? Or, when is the optimal time to do my ritual? Oops, the Emperor must be Aries period. March perhaps is going to be a good time. Or the person that I want to call into my life, what kind of vibe should they have? Oh, need to be a little bit of a fire sign. Need to have some Aries energy to them. When do I need to start doing my work? This time. When do I need to shoot for launching my business on my workshop? Aries time. So understanding astrology is going to help you a lot. Of course, if you understand astrology, it opens up a whole door. What kind of element is going to be? This is going to be fire. This is going to be earth, right? This is going to be working with my beloved daddy Mercury, because the magician represents Mercury. So I get this card and I can say, I'm going to petition Mercury. I'm going to work at the crossroads, because Mercury is a crossroads deity. I'm going to work on communication. I'm going to use all of my 4 elements, because they're presented on the table here in front of the magician, in order to achieve what I need achieving. And I just need to do 1 ritual. I don't need to do millions of rituals. I just need to do 1 ritual. Do it, do a good job, and the situation will shift, because I put all of this encoded information in here. Okay? So understanding the tarot is very important. And thank you so much again, Monica, for putting, because she added this to the slide, and she was like, I'm not leaving space here. I'm going to give them information about the basic zodiac sort of in the tarot, and she put the correspondences of the cards, like Aries, what trump it is, and what is the period of time, because it's going to help very, very much to figure out when to do the work. Again, you want to create a strategy of when to do what. You might even go deep into the situation, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to start my work with the beginning of the pagan year, right, with Aries. I'm going to add something to my work when the sun is gonna go into Taurus, and I'm going to complete my work when the sun is going to be in Leo. Okay, so you plotted a whole strategy to how you're gonna be doing your shit based on 3 cards. Of course, you looked into it and you found all this other information. I'm going to work with keys. I'm going to add keys into my work, into my ritual, right? It's going to help me open the roads, or it's going to help me open the doors that I need, okay? Or I'm going to use 2 keys, and I want to tie the knot. I want to get a proposal of marriage during the time of Leo. This is marriage. I'm going to use 2 keys. It's going to be for him and for me, and I'm going to start it during this time, and I'm going to know that I'm going to work through from March through August until I get what I want. And if I don't get what I want, I let the principalities do what they need to do, and I move on, because this is another thing that we do a lot of times in our work, is that we decide to set limits. So if I say, Spirit, I need to know what time limit I have, this is the time limit, right? Starting in March, finishing in August, putting a lot of emphasis during period of time of Taurus. Around May, you need to see, or perhaps you're going to see a shift around May. Pay attention to that. So that is that. Wow. Whew. I feel like I talked like a crazy woman here. Any questions, you guys? And thank you so much for watching, whoever is joining, even though I'm finishing now. Please share and like and let the world know and download the free materials as long as they are free. Questions, my loves. Who got any questions for me? Thumbs up. Yay. Good. Anybody else? Questions? And I'll shift. I think my knee is completely numb. Okay. Who has questions, comments, wanting to share love? Lindsay, you are so welcome. I hope it's helpful. I think that when is the next? Can wait for your next course. Yes, baby, I'm going to be charging for this. If you guys want to learn something specific and I have more than 3 people, we can do a webinar again. My next course actually is in 2 weeks, and you all better sign up because you can go to the same link where you downloaded the materials and purchase my upcoming workshop, which is going to be bomb. It's going to be so amazing. It's going to be approaching and devotion to the dark goddess Kali, to whom I am initiated. And it's going to be amazing because, one, we don't get a lot of information about that, a lot of real information about the Divine Mother and how to work with her. Will happily pay for futures. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. I appreciate it. Boyko, I don't know what are you asking, but if you're asking if you can use Lenormand in this way, I teach that as well. Absolutely. You can use Lenormand as well. I need to buy some time and hire you to be my personal shopper. I do that too, baby. I do everything. This is the Gemini nature. I do everything. And you are gorgeous. It would be easy to shop for you. So guys, and we're going to use the tarot to change your style. I do that to myself too. You wouldn't believe, but I do that as well. So the next workshop is going to be in 2 weeks on a Sunday at 3 o'clock. It's going to be working and approaching the Divine Mother Kali. Yes, you absolutely can work with Kali if you're not initiated to a certain degree. You need to understand what you're getting yourself into, though, and this is why I'm doing this. Okay, and it's really, really important because she is fierce and she is the antidote to a lot of the shit that we're dealing with today. What does being initiated to Kali mean? Kali is goddess of death. Kali is not goddess of death. Sylvia, Kali is the equivalent, if you're coming from the Shakta perspective, the equivalent of God. Kali is everything. Kali is the creation, the maintenance, and destruction. She composes everything, and this is exactly why I want to talk about it, because people assume certain things, right? What she represents, she's death, she's destruction. She absolutely that too. But shit, every time we ladies have a period and that blood comes out, this is Kali, this is destruction and regeneration. Will these workshops have ritualistic teachings or just tarot readings? I'm not sure what you're asking me, Valentina. I'm talking about working with the Divine Mother Kali, which is more of sort of veneration and understanding her origins and stuff like that. If people want to do rituals with the cards, we can talk about it. We can do a workshop on that. If we can talk about reading techniques, we already done 2 free workshops, and you're welcome to access those. And I can really adjust the material depending on the need of the community or the need of the individual if they want to hire me to tutor them. So it's really, really, really whatever you want. But you guys, I really hope you're going to join me in 2 weeks and share the information. There is a link now. If you go to theglossfox.club/workshops, you can see the Kali workshop as well there. And I will start promoting and creating materials for this shortly. I needed to know that I've finished this. What do you think of combining the Rider-Waite deck with After Tarot deck? I don't know what the After Tarot deck is. I do use multi-spiritual media sometimes in my work, so I can combine different decks, especially if I do very heavy, what I call consciousness curation consultations. Those are $300, and we work with different decks, and it's more to try to figure out the new direction, what your soul is calling for. I do it then. Um, when trying to interpret what is needed, I recommend you stick to one deck and you stick to 3 cards. What else you add for empowerment and your own personal development and the spirits that you work with is your business later, how you put that on the altar, how you create those energy, how they connect to you. This is very, very, very individual, and it's a beautiful place to be when you're in that kind of connection with your decks and with your spirits. So I recommend that. The only thing that I would say, if you're just trying to devise an approach to try to figure out what's going on, what you need to do about it, stick with one deck and 3 cards. Don't do any more. But then if you want to create a ritual and you work with your cards, you can do multiple decks, you can do art, you can do different items and candles and astrological talismans and whatnot, flowers, mirrors, different thing. You had success with that combo. Awesome. Perfect. After tarot, I think that, oh, I know what you're talking about. Actually, I do have after tarot. I just got it. That's a really interesting approach. You can use that if you want to see if that altering aspect, like making something different in the future, is good. I also think that there's, if it could be a really nice visual tool for people that want to let go of things or of people or of the past, because they have, to me, they had this kind of sense. But anyways, that's all I have for you today. I am humbled and grateful for you joining me and for spending time with me and responding and sharing and giving me some love. I hope you join me in 2 weeks. And again, if you have any ideas or you want to learn something else, hit me up, madamnadia.com, theglossfox.club, and I will see you around in Facebook land. Stay safe wherever you are, and let's hope Irma is moving on and is quieting down. Love you. Bye.